Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Christ and TK joining us today over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in the heart of Baton Rouge, right over by Parkview Baptist High School, right off Airline Highway and Jefferson Highway is Tremonti's. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Check out the 25 class at lasportshall.com. Plus, we'll be posting up there some news. November 17th and 18th, we'll be having our fall golf tournament over at University Club and University Club Golf Course on the 18th, and then the pairings party that Sunday night over at the Edge Lounge. At the ESPN Bet Sportsbook in Airs on the 17th from 6 to 9. So we'll tell you more about it next week, but start making your plans to join. You can buy a ticket and come to the pairings party on the 17th and meet all the celebs and great food and check out the ESPN Sports Bet and everything. See all the cool auction items. Or you can play golf, and those tickets and everything for you and a guest are included for free. So that'll be posted on Monday, LA Sports Hall. And of course, we're presented by LeBear's Casino. Couldn't do it without Kim Ginn, Bubba, all the gang over at LeBear's Casino. Thanks for their support. Edge Lounge, place to be this weekend with the Tigers not playing. Go check out some live music. Fun place, renovated, revamped the Edge Lounge. Go see it tonight or tomorrow night. The live music starts right around 10 o'clock over at the Edge Casino floor. All right, Tommy, a lot to get to today. No LSU this weekend. The Saints play on Monday. You got to wait an extra day. Last night, if you're a Saints fan, not good news. The Dirty Birds win. They go to 3-2. Some people say, "Well, why is that bad news, Ronnie?" Because if the Bucks would have won, they'd have been 4-1. I think the less is more approach, right? Like in my mind, Tommy, I'm buying the Bucks. I think they're a legit team again with Baker Mayfield. Played night, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, had a good game, ended up losing 36-30. Like, I would rather the Saints have to chase one team versus 2 teams. Again, if you don't get to the mountaintop, which I don't think the Saints are going to be a division champion team, but I think they could compete based on what we've seen for the wild card. And you want as few teams winning as possible. Right now, the Saints are in 3rd place behind the Bucks and the Falcons. And the Falcons, Kirk Cousins last night, over 500 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, another come from behind victory where he was trailing with, little over a minute to go, let his team down the field, kicked the game tying field goal, won in overtime on a walk-off touchdown pass. He may not be special in the postseason, but Kirk Cousins is special in the regular and during the regular season.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's in his 13th year in the NFL. That says a lot right there when you look at the average, length of a career for a quarterback. Cousins did it in Washington, and he did it in Minnesota, and now he's doing it in Atlanta. I agree with you about chasing one team instead of 2. Now, Tampa and Atlanta are 3-2. Saints are 2-2. So if they can beat the Chiefs Monday night, they're right there. They lose to the Chiefs, they're 1 game behind in the standings. But keep in mind, they lost a head-to-head to Atlanta. But they can change that down the road on the schedule. So, I was watching the baseball game last night. We'll get to all that in a minute. But, yeah, you're right. The Saints need to be chasing 1, not 2.
It's amazing how far the NFC South has come. I mean, Carolina's still trying to figure it out. But clearly Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and the Saints, based off of what they showed, is a competitive conference, a competitive division, and 3 teams that legitimately have a chance to make the playoffs. It's not going to be a division that the winning team is going to be below 500 or something like that. That whoever wins this division's going to have a good record, going to be a good team, and whoever finishes second got a realistic chance of making the playoffs. So the division has definitely turned a corner. Baker Mayfield has rejuvenated his career as a legitimate NFL quarterback. He's proven he's not it wasn't a flash in a pan in what he did last year. Kirk Cousins, everybody jumped on his bandwagon after watching that Netflix documentary last year, quarterbacking, where everybody fell in love with him as a person and as a leader. And he's going to bring that to this guy's not even a year removed from an Achilles tendon tear. I mean, that used to be, you got that, your career was probably over with. And he is less than a year removed. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers did it, week one, first drive of the season. Kirk Cousins did it in the middle of his season. So he's even a faster recovery time. So I feel like he's going to get healthier. He's going to get better. The team's going to gel. They're going to get used to him over in Atlanta. And obviously Baker Mayfield had a whole year and he's back again. So hopefully the Saints are that same way. Bad news. Speaking of the Saints, Taysom Hill doesn't look like he's going to play this week. Wouldn't expect him to even play next week. He's got cracked ribs, a fracture in a rib or ribs. That's the report coming out of there. I mean, that's kind of one of those things, Tommy, where if it was the playoffs, maybe you figure out a way to wrap it up and tape it. But like during the regular season, you're going to let that guy heal.
Ronnie, did you ever have cracked ribs?
Never did.
I mean, I know you played football in high school and all that. And I never did either. I wasn't going to get hit or do no hitting. But when I know people who have had it, even at the high school collegiate level, I mean, there's not much you can do. You can take a shot. Like you said, if it was playoffs, maybe you get an injection and you just bow up and, you nut up and go. But no, it can't be comfortable, to try to play at that level of sports with cracked ribs. So hopefully Hill can get healed. And what you want to do with that is a long season to go. Don't bring him back too soon.
And they're trying to decide, again, they're, everybody keeps everything somewhat close to the vest, even though you have to do injury reports in the NFL. And the Saints have to decide, is it an IR type situation? If you put a player on the injured reserve list, he's out 4 weeks. And so, 4 games. So you have to figure out what that means. And if you think there's a chance that he could come back before then, or you can live without him because he may return before the 4 weeks, then you don't put him on there. And the problem, though, with Taysom Hill is that guy, the only way he can play and be successful and knows how to play is with wild abandonment. That's what makes Taysom Hill special, is that he just throws his body in there with reckless abandonment. And he's 6'2", 3, 230 pounds, running downhill and fast and just, running over you and throwing his body in there to get. If he can't play that way, then that's not going to help your team.
And as you've pointed out for years, it's a fact. When he plays for the Saints and touches the ball, they win more games than they don't. And Carl Dunn points out, I saw 15 Saints on the injury report that the team released for the league the other day. And the Chiefs had like 2 guys. So I don't know about Monday night. We'll talk about that more Monday morning. But 15 guys on the injury report, and it's only game 5.
Yeah, and one of them is one of them is their best receiver, though, for the Chiefs. I'll say that. But this is not a good spot. I mean, if you're a go Saints fan and you just want to bet the Saints because you always bet the Saints and you always believe, then hang on and wait till 6:59 on Monday to bet. I expect the line's going to go up. I think as people realize, and start to wrap their head around Monday Night Football and realize the Saints are just decimated injury-wise and they're playing on the road in Kansas City on Monday Night Football, I think that line's going to go up to 6.5. And if you want the Saints, then wait. If you want the Chiefs, buy it now. Get it now. If you think ain't no way the Saints with those 15 injuries and key ones at that, a couple on the offensive line, that they're going to really go over there and win a game against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City in that environment. No, just go ahead and take the Chiefs. So you got to me, it's take the Chiefs right now, get on your apps or whatever, ESPN bet apps, and go ahead and get the Chiefs now, or you wait to the last second on the Saints, because I think that line will go up at least a half a point.
I agree with you completely.
All right. So other news to talk about, yesterday playoffs, we had one Major League Baseball playoff game. It was the Brewers and the Mets. Winner advances. Brewers at home. Brewers have not only their best reliever, but one of the best relievers in baseball on the mound at the end of that game. And Devin Williams and Pete Alonso, who was 1 for 11, who had struggled in the series, the big polar bear from the University of Florida, goes Oppo 3-run bomb when the Mets are down 2-0 in the ninth. A 3-1 changeup, stayed inside of the ball, hit it the other way, and drove it out the park to right field. Did the right-handed hitter to put them up 3-2. They ended up winning 4-2, and the Mets shocked the Brewers. The Brew Crew, your team, one of your teams or your dad's team, right? Just freaking blew it, and like that Williams, who'd been hurt for about the first 4 months of the season, who was like the pitcher of the year 2 years in a row in the bullpen. He had given up one home run all year in 22 innings or something like that. Only given up one home run all year, and gave up the 3-run bomb to Pete Alonso to flip the series.
Well, Ronnie, it's the first time in Major League Baseball history that somebody hit a go-ahead homer in the ninth inning of a win or go-home game in the playoffs, in the postseason. And here, we talked about the other day, if you can hit the ball hard the other way in the game of baseball, this is for you travel players, you high school guys. If and he hit it hard the other way. It didn't go over the fence by a lot, but it went over the fence. And then I think the telling story, I mean, Milwaukee was really, they were peacocking a little bit. I mean, they up 2-0. They got their guy on the mound. And I heard it this morning. Bob Uecker, the legendary player, announcer, he said, this one's going to sting a lot. That was his final comment when they were signing off the air. Because, man, that was tough for Milwaukee, especially being at home. But the Mets have been amazing. The big inning has carried the Mets through the wild card series. Each game they had a big inning, 4 or more runs. And they're hot. Now's October is the time to get hot. October baseball is the special baseball in the world, especially at the major league level. It's October. We saw some good stuff early, and now we go to the divisional round. By the way, Ronnie, when the Astros were eliminated the other day, Alex Bregman sent a tweet or an X, 3 words, said, "Thank you, Houston," period. He's a free agent, and Altuve says there's no way the Astros will let him go. But when I saw that post by Alex Bregman, I'm thinking he's got a thought about being somewhere else, or he wouldn't have sent that. Or is that posturing to get the contract up higher?
Well, the rumor is Arizona. I mean, which
Yeah.
People are like, well, he bought a home in Arizona. Well, a lot of athletes live in Arizona. I mean, it's beautiful weather. It's training in the off season, the whole 9 yards. He's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, so that's not a big deal. But it wouldn't be a bad place to play. And at the end of the day, Alex Bregman has given Houston a long time and a number of years. 2 things. This is probably his opportunity for his last mega contract. He's going to squeeze blood out of a turnip and go where the money is probably the best. He's not going to, nobody's going to give the Astros, he's not going to give the Astros a multi-million-dollar home field discount, the hometown discount. It's not his hometown. And quite frankly, human nature. I mean, he's been there about 8 years at least playing with the Astros. You might be looking for a change of scenery. I mean, that's just human nature. And look, living in Scottsdale and playing for the Diamondbacks and being even closer to home is not a bad thing. And so it may just be a little bit of that. I mean, he's not going to ever say that publicly, but internally, him and his wife may be like, hey, we love Scottsdale. We love Arizona. Let's change it up. We're young. Let's go there. And oh, by the way, they're going to pay us more. So that's the expectation.
Well, the other thing, he's involved in horse racing. He owns some race horses. He's very involved in horse racing. He just doesn't own and makes a call once a week, see what's up. And all of his stuff is out in California in the horse racing world. So, you go to Arizona, you're a little closer to that. I mean, I would bet that if somebody said, what team do you think he goes to? I'm going to go with what you said. He'll go to Arizona, unless somebody else just loads up the money. So, the Dodgers, they got money. If they load it up significantly, but we'll see. And I'm not saying he won't go back to Houston, but I doubt it.
There's 8 teams left in the Major League playoffs right now. Detroit, all these are best of 5 series. Detroit at Cleveland, the Mets at the Phillies, which of course we'll be interested in with Nola on the bump for the Phillies. You've got San Diego at LA, which I don't know. That one's got a lot of juice for me. They hate each other. The Padres have a lot of swag. They're playing well. I don't know. I like that series. Fun to watch. And then, of course, you got the Royals, the surprising Royals at Yankees. And the Yankees have won 27 World Series. So, they're always good for baseball whenever the Yankees or Dodgers or Red Sox or Cubs are in the playoffs. So the Yankees are holding it down on the East Coast for the Blue Bloods. It's wide open. I mean, this is as wide open of a Major League Baseball World Series as ever. Who do you think is going to pop out and win the World Series out of those 8?
Well, you can almost make an argument for all 8. I mean, the Tigers have been hot. The Mets are amazing. I mean, maybe not the amazing Mets of '69, but they're amazing. And then pitching, the Royals have the pitching. Now, let me say this, Ronnie. I watch a little more baseball than some people, especially this time of the year. If you haven't seen Bobby Witt Jr. of the Royals play shortstop, he drove in 2 of their 3 runs. That they only scored 3 in a series because they had great pitching in the wild card series. This dude. I'm gonna say a mouthful here. He's Ken Griffey Jr. esque in being a 5 tool guy, and he plays shortstop, not outfield. I mean, he is something else to watch at the plate, in with the glove, turning double plays. I mean, who watches the Kansas City Royals, right? But I'm telling you, if you got a chance, they're gonna be playing the Yankees, and then of course you got the whole Aaron Judge story. So check out Bobby Witt Jr. I'm gonna throw that out there for everybody.
Yeah, my heart is going with the Phillies just because of Nola, and I got some good buddies that love the Phillies and all that. But I mean, I don't know, man. I agree with you that the Detroit for me feels like like the best team. But I
Well,
mean, you're starting fresh.
and the Detroit's got the lowest payroll. I mean, they got guys making more money than the entire Royal team. They're a Detroit team. They're the youngest team in baseball. Aaron Nola will throw the second game for the Phillies. Zach Wheeler will go for the first. And Carl Dunn points out Terry Francona is back in baseball, hired by the Reds. I'll tell you my Terry Francona story. When I was playing baseball at Southeastern, they had that collegiate baseball newspaper, okay? And they would always drop a bundle of them off in our clubhouse. And that's the only way you knew what was happening. And in 1980, Francona won the Golden Spikes Award, okay, at Arizona. And that's when I was playing. And I remember they had a big old picture of him. We're like, that's the biggest picture we've ever seen of one person, a headshot in the newspaper, because he won the Golden Spikes in 1980, like I said. So I've never forgot that. And I've been a fan of Francona as a player in MLB and as a manager forever. He had a year. He didn't manage this year. He'd been in Cleveland. Now it looks like the Reds are going to, get him. He is going to go to Cincinnati and manage the Reds.
65 years old is Terry Francona. 23 years he managed in the big leagues. The last 11, he was over there in Cleveland. Won a couple World Series, of course, as manager with the Red Sox. And stepped away last year at the end of the year, for health reasons, and said he wasn't going to manage again. Well, clearly, like Paul Mainieri did, when he stepped away and got, after a couple of years, and you're still a young man in your mid 60s, and you're feeling better, and you're rested up, and your body's feeling good, and hey, give me something to do. And now he's going to be back. A little, but he's back with a team that underachieved. He had the Reds last year in 23 were like 82 and 80. This year, they were just a little below 500, but they were expected to be a good team and weren't. Obviously, they have Ellie De La Cruz, the 22-year-old shortstop, who is a superstar and makes the highlight reels, it seems, every night when they play. But they got a lot of other good players. It's a good spot, I think, for Terry to come back because he's got a team that can win next year, and he may be the secret sauce.
And they've got some arms. Plus, they have LSU's Jake Fraley. Fraley runs around in right field for the Reds. So, yeah, we'll see how that works out. I would think if you're a Reds fan, you should be a little bit optimistic.
Some other baseball news, but not Major League Baseball news, just as intriguing, though. The Savannah Bananas announced that in 2025, on their world tour, which they've sold out over almost 300 events since 2021, on their world tour, and they're going to play in 3 football stadiums next year. football stadiums. I mean, one of them is Carolina, one of them is Clemson, the other is where the Titans play in Nashville. They're going to play games in football, so they're going to draw crowds in the 70, 80,000 range. Unbelievable.
I thought you were going to say they're playing at Goldsby Field. At home in the Rougarou. Man, I was really hoping to hear that when you said, I mean, that would have been nice.
I don't know if Pete Goldsby Field would be big enough to house the Bananas to take infield and outfield. You know, there'd be so many fans. If they said, look, we're going to play in Tiger Stadium tonight, but we're going to go over to Goldsby Field to take a little in and out at 10 o'clock in the morning, just work on a few ground balls, it would be thousands. But unbelievable. The story just continues to just get bigger and bigger and bigger. I was hoping they were going to say Tiger Stadium on that tour, but not yet.
Well, what it is, Ronnie, I go back to when I was a kid, the Harlem Globetrotters were this, okay? They filled big arenas and big crowds and, you know, whatever. And it would be on the ABC Wide World of Sports on Saturday. I mean, you know, so this is even bigger because of the internet and, you know, everything else in the world. But it's a pretty cool story. I know my grandchildren have all seen the Savannah Bananas. They all have gear. I mean, it's a big thing for these kids and the adults too. And it's entertainment, you know. It's entertainment, which is what this is all supposed to be about. If you know, I've said this for 30 years. ESPN, the E stands for entertainment. Don't forget that.
And we'll be entertaining you tomorrow morning as well on Sports Shorts Radio.
Let's repeat the big announcement there.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I say, tomorrow morning from 10 until noon, we'll be making our Southwest Louisiana debut. Of course, we'll still be on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Guaranty Broadcasting. But then tomorrow, live from Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine, where we'll be doing the show. We'll also be broadcasting on 103.7 in Lafayette, ESPN, and 104.1 ESPN in Lake Charles. So pumped to be in Southwest Louisiana. We appreciate you, everybody, spreading the word. Let your friends and family and everybody know that you can just tune in over there now and catch us every Saturday morning from 10 to noon in Lafayette and Lake Charles. So, you know, I-10, baby, we got it covered from the Texas line all the way to New Orleans. So check us out every Saturday morning. We're excited to be at Fat Daddy's restaurant, one of the best, po' boy joints in all the land over on the west side of Baton Rouge, down in Plaquemine tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll also get into college football more. Only one ranked game tomorrow, Tommy. Tell us about it.
You got Texas A&M hosting Missouri. That's the only ranked versus ranked game. Aggies are a 2.5-point favorite. I bet Missouri plus $1.10 on the money line this morning. You got a lot of ranked teams are playing, and game day will be Miami at California, an ACC game at California. ESPN game day will be there. So there's some other games there's a lot of big lines in the top 25. There's a handful, including A&M, Missouri, that are a little bit different. And of course, LSU fans want to pay attention to Ole Miss at South Carolina. That's an 11 o'clock kick Saturday morning with Ole Miss now only an 8.5-point favorite. Came down a notch. Because obviously Ole Miss comes into Baton Rouge next week.
Yeah, that's definitely a game that I'll be watching the most and care about the most. And I don't know where to go with this one because South Carolina beat Kentucky and Kentucky beat Ole Miss, and Ole Miss, they only put 17 points on the board or 20 points on the board last week. I don't know. I'm just going to watch it as a fan and see what happens. But Ole Miss and USC is going to be a very interesting game. Of course, LSU fans know how difficult it is to play on the road, and that's the challenge that Ole Miss has. So we'll see what it's like over in Columbia. All right, so Tommy, tell us about Tremonti's as we get out of here.
Hey, you got all the meat and seafood you need for the weekend, the bourbon, the wine, the vodka, the liquor. It's all here. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Come get lunch today. Eat it in. Take it out here to go. They'll have barbecue ribs, smoked ribs for lunch tomorrow. That's a real popular thing. They usually sell out here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where they got it going on. Everything you need for tailgating, high school games, college games, going to somebody's house, somebody's coming to your house. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Mike and the staff do a great job. Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. And a good way to keep up with Tremonti's is connect on Instagram and Facebook. You'll learn about lunch specials, dinner specials, other things going on here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. They got swamp buckets back in stock. If you don't have a swamp bucket, you need to get one. Stop by Tremonti's real soon. All right, don't forget again, tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio. as we say, hello, Lafayette, hello, Lake Charles, jumping into Southwest Radio, ESPN in Lafayette and Lake Charles simulcast, taking the program. Obviously, it'll be a Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles thing. Please spread the word on that. Tell your friends and folks and sports fans in those markets that we land over there starting tomorrow, and that'll be an every Saturday thing. So we appreciate all the good people that help make that happen. That you don't just push a button and have that happen. There's a lot of things that have to line up. So we appreciate that very much. As we always say, don't forget to like and share this show. That helps us all. On behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Christ, and have a great day, everyone.